Aloha kako, aloha mai. We struggled this morning trying to figure out why we are here. And it's obvious that many of us are here for many different reasons. And we try to follow the path that has been set in the first Moana Nui. And I'm trying to figure out why I'm here myself. And some strange thing happened on my way here. I was riding on the airplane in the middle seat, and this guy came sit next to me, big guy. And I was wondering who he was. And come to find out, he was coming to the same place. And his name was Carmen. And if you don't know him, you need to get to meet him because he's quite a character. And he's from New Zealand, and he brings with him spirituality and cultural context. And he and I were talking through the whole trip. And it was a long trip, and it didn't seem that long. But we were talking about New Zealand, and I told him that I had a chance to go to New Zealand, and I met with this elder named John Rangihau. And this elder kept asking me, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm a Hawaiian." And he said, "No, no, no, no. Who are you?" And I said, "I'm a Hawaiian." And he said, "No, who are you?" And this went on for my 2 weeks that I was in New Zealand. He kept asking me that question. And apparently, I never, ever answered his question, even after I left. So I felt today that I need to at least explain who I am to you to begin my speech and my talk, because I think that's going to be important. We talked about international levels and the need to be operating at that level. And we also talked about the need to be in contact with the roots, with the base of the people. So I feel that I wanted to come today for a couple of reasons. To explain what has happened to us as Hawaiians and to be useful to this event. So let me start off by saying that my name is Walter Ritte, and He Hawaii Au is the way that I need to explain who I am, and that means I am Hawaii. I belong to the nation of Hawaii. I live on the island of Molokai, an island that is famous for Aina Momona, the land of the fat land that produces food not only for our island, but for the rest of the islands. I am a simple hunter and a fish pond operator. I just want to survive and raise my family. That's my goal in life. I am in love with my island, totally in love with my island, proud of my island, and I will protect her with my life. I am 67 years old with 6 children, 12 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. I'm here today because a great nation coveted my islands and my resources. I cannot survive and raise my family. That is the predicament I find myself in. They use guns, religion, education, and capitalism in order to take our nation. Things were going really bad. I went to a high school for Hawaiians, and the goal of that school was to make us all haulis. It was the goal to make us Americans because that was going to be the future of Hawaii, and we needed to succeed. And our parents bought into that and wanted us to succeed in the future, so they allowed these schools to turn us all into haulis. Then something happened in 1970s where the United States had become so aggressive that they were beginning to kill and destroy an entire island. And they were doing that in the name of military defense. And that island was called Kaho'olawe. A few of us went there by accident, and stayed and became part of a movement to stop the killing and death of that island. We took on the United States military, which is pretty powerful, guys. And it began a movement that later on became to be called a renaissance. We were in a pendulum or a slide as Hawaiians to become Americans. And that event reversed the pendulum or reversed the slide. And from that time on, it became really important for us to begin to figure out whether or not we were the potato or the meat or the carrots in this great stew that we were believed we should all be. That we should all be people melted together in a great stew. So that renaissance is continuing today, and not fast enough for many of us. And I want to now talk about the island that I come from, Molokai. It says, I think it's almost the same size as Rapa Nui, with the same amount of people. And I was talking to the guy from Rapa Nui, and there was lots of things going back and forth that we could understand what we're talking about. In Hawaii, they call the island of Molokai the last Hawaiian island. And I'm not quite sure why they say that, but that's the name that we have today. And it's the only island besides a private island called Ni'ihau where the majority of the population is actually Hawaiians. And the reason why they call us the last Hawaiian island, I believe, is because we have been able to keep two economies on our island. One economy, the cash economy, which we all participate in, but the other most important economy for us is the subsistence economy. The ability to use our resources in the ocean and on the land to feed our families for free. We pay no taxes on it, and that's why the government don't even want us to use that word subsistence over there, and they don't like our economy. And that gives us a feeling of independence, where we don't have to listen and depend on the businesses and on the word jobs. So that makes us different. I'm mentioning these things only because it might be good examples for many of us on how we're going to survive. We can talk about our problems and talk about our problems, and of course we need to find out solutions. So the solutions come from each other. So for us in Molokai, it's the ability to feed our families. The state of Hawaii has maybe 2 weeks worth of food if the barges stop coming. We're totally dependent on the outside. For the power, we're totally dependent on oil. Without oil, I don't think our economy would ever go anywhere. So this dependence keeps us where we are. So we're hoping on the island of Molokai. That's why we have no elected officials on our island. We have to depend on the elected officials that come from all the rest of the islands. So for some people, that's a disadvantage. For us, it has made us stronger because we depend on ourselves. We depend on ourselves. We stand up and we fight for ourselves because we realize nobody is going to come and fight for us. All of the laws that they make for our state has nothing to do with our island. It just makes it harder for us to live on our island. So we realize that. We grumble, we drink beer, we get drunk, we get mad. But at the same time, we stand up and we fight for ourselves because nobody's going to come and help us. If we look into our future, on our island, we believe that we have answers. We have answers. As traditional people, we have the answers. We've been led to believe that somebody else has the answers to our future. We know what we need to do in order to survive. We know that. We believe in that. So that's how we act, and that's what we do. And it comes from our elders. So before we go anywhere, we make sure we know who we are and where we came from in order for us to be successful as to where we're going. So that's definitely deep within our culture. So in looking for answers, that's, all these bad things that are happening all over the world, and nothing as bad as what's happening to sister and their place. We may have some answers because we were able to defeat the United States of America. So what was the essence of how a few Hawaiians were defeating the military, the United States military? And that comes because we were told by our elders there is no stronger weapon than aloha, than love. We had a hard time believing them, but it was because of this aloha aina, this love for the land, that we were able to defeat the United States military. So, some of the solutions, we don't have to look as far as our own culture and our own selves. At the same time, learn from the other mistakes that other people have made, and keep talking about organizing and unity and doing things together. And I think we'll be all right in the future. Thank you.